What's up, everybody? My name's Big Cam and welcome back to another Hot Toys figure unboxing. But wait, this is not a Hot Toys. This is a Present Toys 1/6 scale collectible figure. And many people might know this character as a different name, but from Present Toys, I believe for copyright issues, they had to call this figure the Skeleton Knight. But most people that love the Marvel Universe would know this character as Ghost Rider. And obviously the flaming skull on the front of the box there, this is a cool looking box. The spikes on his shoulders, Present Toys down the side, some legal information around the back, some warnings, you know, choking hazard, small parts, not for children under 3, of course. But Present Toys around the other side, and I can't wait. Let's slide off this top. Ooh! So it's got another, like, flaming skull on the inside. You can see that. And then it says Present Toy Skeleton Knight down the bottom. Some more legal information around the back with a flaming chain, like he's holding the chain. Yeah, baby. And this is an aftermarket buy. You know, obviously not buying this for brand new, but I was able to get this regardless because I really wanted a Ghost Rider. And the Hot Toys one, probably back from, what, 2009, 10, when that movie came out, it didn't look that great, but it did come with the motorcycle. So this one doesn't come with the bike, but it does come with a pretty badass Nicolas Cage head sculpt, and it's a pretty dope figure. And I'm thinking, let's just pop open this box and pull out this figure and see what we're looking like. All right, fresh in the box. I don't know if this, how pre-owned this is. It does look like he's got maybe some swap out hands that maybe not ones that he came with, but also I'm not seeing like maybe the hands that would have came with him. So maybe this is just how he comes. He comes like with a gripping hand and kind of like a pointing hand, like that one scene where he's back to the hell, or whatever he says. I really, because I've been having this figure and I've been wanting to unbox it, I've been wanting to watch Ghost Rider again. I haven't watched it in a while. So I'm like, yeah, no, that first one. Second one, not so much, but the first Ghost Rider with Sam Elliott's other cowboy Ghost Rider, Carter Slade. I loved this movie growing up and really, really dug the On Fire motorcycle, you know, the theme song, you know, everything about it was great. In Nicolas Cage, I grew up loving Nicolas Cage. So let's pop this top off and take a closer look at this figure. Oh my god, real leather. That Nicolas Cage head sculpt looks crazy. Let's take a quick look at this. Oh, that looks crazy. Does the jaw move? Oh, it does a little bit. Ha ha ha. Oh my god, that is crazy to look at. And I bet this lights up too somehow, some way. I don't know how, but we'll figure it out. I'm sure there's instructions in here somewhere, although I'm not seeing them. But yeah, let's pull everything out of here. We got a couple fire elements, a couple hands, but let's take a closer look at this figure. Oh, that head sculpt looks so legit. The spikes on his jacket. The leather feels like so soft and real. Buckle on the front, the jacket. This is a pretty badass Ghost Rider figure in like the boots. Oh man. Now I don't know if you leave this character in a pose for a long time if this leather would damage, but just putting the arm up, putting it down, it does seem to move correctly the way that like a real leather jacket would on a life-size person. God, I always loved the look of this character. And like how he's just like got this leather like biker gear, and then he just turns into this bounty hunter for the devil, you know, and his head's on fire. Like, it's so cool. Like, oh god, what else does he come with? A couple of guns, a big old display base, a chain. Yeah, baby, this is a cool ass figure. Comment below if you were a big fan of Ghost Rider as a kid. But let's pull all of these accessories and everything that the Present Toys Skeleton Knight, aka Ghost Rider, comes with, and lay out everything in front of me here and see what this Ghost Rider figure's accessories are and see what he's looking like with everything around him. Alright, we have the Skeleton Knight from Present Toys laid out in front of us here. And Skeleton Knight, you might be thinking to yourself, what is a Skeleton Knight?
Obviously, present toys here just didn't have the licensing to the name Ghost Rider, or at least I believe that's what the case is. But obviously, they were able to make a Ghost Rider look-alike, you know, with the leather outfit, with the Nicolas Cage head sculpt, with all the accessories here, and we'll go through those. So taking a closer look at these hands here, we got some black leather gloves with some spikes on them, some spikes on the knuckles, so if you get punched in the jaw, those spikes hurt extra. And then on the figure himself, he's got a gripping hand and like kind of like a pointing hand, or maybe even like a trigger grabbing hand. We'll try and see if the shotguns fit in those hands, because other than that, not too many hands. There's only 2 other ones, and they kind of have like these grabbing hands, and they're meant for these fire elements that you can place right in his hand there, and it fits pretty well. So, you know, you can have him holding some fireballs. There's also 2 chain elements. One of them here has kind of like a fireball on the end of it, kind of like if he was spinning it around, you know what I mean? Or like throwing out some fire, I don't know. But you got one little chain there that works. I'm probably not going to use that one, but I probably will use this one, at least have it wrapped around him like he does in the movie. And this one has a little point on one end. But yeah, a couple little chains that you can use. Not wired, but some chains nonetheless that you can use for posing. We got the 2 shotguns. One of them is like a Lancaster repeater, and it moves, you know, in the I like that. Nice little gun there. And then you have this Ghost Ridered shotgun. Like at the very end of the original movie, he like turns the gun into like a fire element to shoot Blackheart. You know what I mean? But I don't know if I'll end up using either of these guns, but I'll try and get them in his hand at least once. But the real thing we're here for is this figure and this Ghost Rider head sculpt. So let's take a closer look at that. All right, so taking a closer look at this Ghost Rider head sculpt, you can see the flame work looks pretty insane. The jaw does kind of move a little bit, but it doesn't really want to stay up, so it looks like down is really the only option, but you can kind of get that ha 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 ha. But yeah, I wish honestly it opened up a little bit more, but you know, not bad that it can move just ever so slightly. And I don't think this has a light up effect for it. You know, I think this is the only light, you know, like, or the only real effect, you know, maybe catching some light from just the light bulb makes it look like it's lit up, but not so much, you know. And you can see the dark pit of his eyes there. It looks like they should light up red. I'm not sure how or if this figure powers on, and if so, how would it? Because this thing didn't come with any instructions for me. It sucks. No instructions. So I'm gonna have to try my best here to figure out if this thing lights up or just rep it like this. But we're definitely gonna have to throw on the Ghost Rider head sculpt, and that's probably the way I'll be repping him. But let's take a look at the Nicolas Cage head sculpt and a closer look at the figure himself. So taking a closer look at the figure, starting with his boots, you can see those nice little, you know, lift in his boot, nice little heel there. The leather feels so soft. It's got this little detail on his knees. No belt, but kind of has belt loops. He kind of has this belt around his leather jacket. Some working zippers if you really wanted to. The black shirt underneath. The leather jacket kind of pinned down so these flaps don't open up. Spikes on the gloves, kind of like that pointing hand, kind of for like the poses where he's like, back to hell, you know. Some spikes on the top of his shoulders, spin around the back, some buttons on his rear. Not too crazy detail, but the leather work definitely feels like real leather. Doesn't feel like that pleather material. Feels so soft and so nice, honestly, to hold. But you can see also the grabbing hand in that hand, you know. So very curious why they didn't have just kind of relaxed hands, like kind of neutral pose. But yeah, not a bad Nicolas Cage head sculpt either. Does really kind of capture his Johnny Cage. I mean, it's not the best Nicolas Cage, but it's not the worst either, especially with the terrible haircut he has in that movie. But let's be real, most people aren't going to be getting this figure to rep him as Johnny Cage, right? They're Johnny Blaze, Nicolas Cage. They're not going to be repping this head sculpt. They're going to be repping him as Ghost Rider. So let's toss on some of his accessories and see if we can't get this bad boy into a couple different poses. All right, so we got a couple of different poses here for the Skeleton Knight from Present Toys spinning around on the carousel table here for us. We got the Nicolas Cage head sculpt in, and he's kind of doing that pointing pose where he's like, you. And he's got the chain wrapped around his shoulder. And then we got Nicolas Cage head sculpt with the repeater rifle, like he's about to shoot it. And then that one pose from Johnny Blaze at the end of the Ghost Rider movie, the first one at least. And he points the Ghost Rider shotgun through the shadows to shoot Blackheart. And I kind of have that pose going on. And then we got the Ghost Rider head sculpt on, and he's holding the flaming chain like he's about to spin that bad boy up and throw it. And then we have Ghost Rider about to throw a punch and gearing up to toss a punch at your face and reaching out with the other hand to grab you. And then the final pose, and probably the pose that I will leave my Ghost Rider in because it's just menacing, with the head tilt a little bit down, the fire elements in his hands, the chain wrapped around his shoulders. I like the big chunky base, although it's a little thick, but it comes with some fire elements to go around his feet, like he's really flaming on, you know what I mean? But not Johnny Storm, Johnny Blaze, you know what I mean? Talk about two fire people that I need to meet in the MCU ASAP, the new Fantastic Four Johnny Storm, or even the Chris Evans Johnny Storm from the original Fantastic Four and Nick Cage's Ghost Rider. Oh my God, or even the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Ghost Rider. I would be here for Ghost Rider coming back in the MCU, no matter what shape or form that comes in, whether it's Nicolas Cage or Gabriel Luna coming back from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., or, you know, the rumors has been maybe a Ryan Gosling gonna take over this role in the future. I don't see that. Maybe I'm seeing more of like a Keanu, you know, guy that's big with the bikes, maybe a Norman Reedus, but both of those guys are getting up there in age, so maybe they need somebody a little bit younger that can take this character into the future type of thing. Either way, Ghost Rider has always been one of my favorite characters, and I love that I have this Ghost Rider figure now. Although, if you do buy this yourself, I will say the jaw is a little bit loose. Mine seems like it's about to fall right off, but it does have two little peg points at the corner of the jaw where you kind of just pop it back in. And, you know, it is loose, not as tight as I would like it, but there is a light up function in that head, although you can't even really tell all that much, you know, like there's no light up functions in the hand, that's just like the light hitting it, and the head has light up functions. You can't even really tell, you know, so I'm probably going to just cut those off so I don't waste the batteries, and this will be the pose that I leave him in on the shelf. And I don't necessarily have any other characters that I could compare this figure with. So in the future, if I get another Ghost Rider's character, if I have any other off-brand, right, like this is my only non-Hot Toys figure I have at the current moment, so if I have any other figures like this in the future, I will compare this bad boy next to them. But at the current moment, no figure comparisons today. But if I do a Hot Toys unboxing in the future and you want to see this Ghost Rider figure next to another figure, make sure to leave that down in the comment section below, and I'll get that figure comparison for you then. Overall, pretty sweet figure for me. I'm very happy with the purchase. I wish it said Ghost Rider on the little tab here at the front, you know, other than Skeleton Knight, but I think everyone understands that this is Ghost Rider, right? And I don't think anyone's going to be repping the Nicolas Cage head sculpt, so this badass Ghost Rider figure with the real leather standing in front of me here, I'm very happy that I now have one of my favorite figures going on into the collection and onto one of my shelves in this collection room, in the shelving room here. But if you guys have made it this far into the video, I highly appreciate anybody that's clicked on this video and made it this far. And I really, really appreciate the support. And if you want to support the channel further, the best way to do that is dropping a like on this video, commenting down in the comment section below, subscribing if you haven't already. Once again, my name is Big Cam. If you want to follow my other social medias, links for those down in the description below. Make sure you hit that bell so you don't miss future Hot Toys unboxings or unboxing videos for 1/6 scale collectible figures, and you get the notifications when those come out. And thank you guys once again. My name is Big Cam, and I will see you beautiful people in the next video. Peace.